All right, guys, this is going to be 10-6. It's going to be on surface area again, except it's going to be on the surface area of pyramids and cones. So if you haven't watched that proof video I just did on cones surface area, you should go check that out. But first, we're going to be starting with pyramids. So similar to what we did before, we're going to be finding the areas of each face of this shape and also the base. So the base in this case is going to be a square. So if we're looking at number 1, this is going to be a square pyramid. So in order to find the area of the base, all you would need is one of the lengths, and we have 2, so it's going to be 64. Because it's 8 times 8, I'll show that out. So there's the base. Ooh, don't need 2 equals. 8 times 8. And then we need to do each face. And what's nice about pyramids is all their faces, if the base is the same, is a regular shape. So since this is a square, we know all the faces are going to be the same size. And since we're only working with regular bases here, that is the way we're going to do it. So all we need to find is one face and then multiply it by how many faces we have. So we have the base length of this triangle. It's going to be 8. So we know it's going to be 1/2 times 8. And then we need the height. And the height is going to be the slant. We just learned about the slant in the proof video. So there's the slant, and the slant in this case is going to be perpendicular to the base. So the slant should be the height of that triangle. That's what we're going to be working with because it's a 2-dimensional face, and the height should be from the top of the triangle, the vertex, to the base, and should be perpendicular, and we have that. So it's going to be 11.7. So this is one triangle. And how many faces are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we multiply that by 4. And that's how we would find the area. So let's calculate that real quick. Should be 251.2 meters squared-ish. Yeah, looks good to me. So let's do the odd today. Same thing. What kind of pyramid is this? The base is square, so it's a square pyramid. So let's find the area of the base. The base is just going to be 16 times 16. And then we have to add each of the faces. So each of the faces should be the same area because it's a square base. So let's see here. All right, we have the base, it's 16, so it's gonna be 1/2 times 16, and then we have to find the height. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Doesn't matter which face we use, because all the faces are the same. So what we could do is do this. Whew, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a right triangle in there. So maybe we can do it from a different angle, and that would be a little bit easier for you. So let's change colors. Let's do this face. Remembering that this face is going to be the same size as the other one we just did. Base is going to be 16, just like before. We need this. Oops. We need this, and we need it to be perpendicular. So what we do is let's see if I can get it. We do this, and then that. And can you kind of see that that red height is the hypotenuse of that? Okay, so since that is right in the middle, we know that's going to be 8, and we know the height. It tells us it's 3. So we could find that red hypotenuse by doing 3 squared plus 8 squared equals whatever the h is. We'll call it h squared. Let's call it L to get you familiar with that actually. L squared. All right, so that's going to be 73 equals L squared, which means L is going to be approximately 8.5. So this guy is going to be 8.5. So now we have the height of one of our faces. So there we go. So there is one triangle. So we have to see how many triangles we have. We have this front one here, side one, back. So there's 4 of them. There we go. So if you can guess, the amount of faces we're going to be using is dependent on how many sides the base has. But if you haven't guessed that yet, that's okay. So that is the way we're going to be working. So when we find this, it's going to end up giving us 528 feet squared. Try in your calculator and check. Should work out. So let's try number 5 now. Number 5. What kind of pyramid is this? It's a triangular pyramid. So instead of saying area, I should say surface area. Surface area. So our surface area here is going to first start with our base. So our base is going to be 7. Oops. 1/2 times the base, which is 7, times the perpendicular height, which is 6.1. And then we have to find the area of one of the faces and then multiply it by how many faces we have. So let's erase this so we can get it a little bit more clear, and we can use this one since they give us some information here. Tells us the base, which is 7, and it tells us the perpendicular height, which is 12.2. And there we go, and we just multiply by how many faces we have. So since there is a triangular base, that means there's going to be 3 faces, as you can see. The back one and the front one, and the side. Okay, so our answer to that will be 149.45 centimeters squared, and that's going to be our surface area. Okay, number 6 is a tricky one, so maybe we should do that. Yeah, let's do that one. So, what is the base? It already tells us. Oh, that's nice. So the surface area is going to be the base. So the base in this case is 93.53. And then we got to add that to the faces area. So let's just find one of them. Since they give us information on this one, we should just do that one. Gives us the height. The height is 11.3. Each side 6, tells us that here. So it's going to be 1/2 times 11.3 times 6. And then we multiply it by how many faces there are. So since this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 side shape, there's going to be 6 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can check to see, but that should work out. Okay, so our answer should be around 296.93 yards squared. Okay. Now we get to cones. Yeehaw. Hey, there's our formula. Woohoo, we already solved that. So there's our surface area. So we don't have to do much now. So let's do 7 and 9, 10, 11, 12. So number 7, our surface area is going to be the area of our base. That is pi 7 squared plus pi RL. So our R is 7 and our slant height is 11.4. Not too bad, we just plug in. But you won't remember it unless you know where it came from. Or you may, maybe you have good memory, but it's better to understand than to memorize. And there we go. Number 9, surface area equals area of the base. Do we know the area of the base? Oh man, we gotta find the radius. It doesn't tell us the radius. It does tell us the height, the slant height, and we could find the radius from that though. And that's what we're gonna have to do. So we're looking for R here. So it's gonna be R squared plus 25.2 squared is going to equal 27.3 squared. So it's going to be x squared equals 110.25, x equals 10.5, or negative 10.5, but that doesn't make sense. So our area is going to be, area of the base is going to be pi times radius squared. And then to find our sector, we need to get our radius, which we already have, and times our slant height, which we already have. And there we go. Put that in your calculator and you will get approximately this. So it should be approximately, and there we go. Cool. Number 9, done. Number 10, here we go. If a cone has a surface area, so it tells us the surface area, and a diameter, find the slant height of the cone. Okay. So our formula, we already know. So our slant surface area is going to be pi r squared plus pi r L. So it tells us our surface area. It tells us our diameter, so we know our radius. So it's going to be 81 pi, because it's going to be 9 squared pi, plus 9 pi L. So we're just solving for L. Piece of cake. So subtract 81 pi from both sides, and then divide by 9 pi. So first let's subtract 81 pi. We're left with 568.31. Divide by 9 pi, we get 20.1 equals L. So L is approximately 20.1 centimeters. And there we go. There's our slant height. So for number 11, it's a little bit tricky. You're going to see we got to take the surface area of this whole guy right here. And we can only do the outside, which means we can't include this. I don't know if you can see that, but this is inside the three-dimensional shape. So we can't include that when we're finding the surface area of the cone, and we can't include that when we're finding the surface area of the cylinder. Okay, so here we go. So if we are finding the surface area of this whole thing, we're going to be finding the surface area of cone without base plus the surface area of cylinder with one base. So we're not going to include that top part. So here we go. Surface area cone without the base is just going to be, surface area cone is just going to be the sector part. And the sector part is pi RL, and the R is going to be 17, and the slant height is going to be 20. Done. Piece of cake. The next part is going to be the cylinder with one base. So we have to find the area of the base. Area of the base is going to be pi 17 squared. And then we have to add to that, doesn't matter about parentheses or brackets, but I want to show you. We have to add to that this part. And I don't know if you remember me showing you, but it goes all the way around. And that is going to end up giving us a rectangle. And the long length of it is going to be the circumference. And the height is going to just be 12 here. So the circumference is going to be 34 pi times the height, which is 12. And so that is the surface area of the cone without the base, and that is the surface area of the cylinder with one base. If it was two bases, I would add a 2 here, but only one base. So when we put that together, it's going to give us approximately 3,257.83 meters squared. That's going to be a surface area of the total. And yeah, all's well. For number 12, we're looking for the roof on a shed. And the shed is going to be a square base pyramid. So what that's going to look like is we're going to have a ding, 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 ding. So that's going to be a square. All are going to be the same, except the roof is going to go into a pyramid. Oh, that's not very good. Like that. Okay, so what we're looking for is the surface area of the roof. We can't actually include the base in this because the base is part of the building. So the roof is just going to be the faces. And if we're looking at this, the side of each part of the square is 10, and the height of the roof, oh good, it's the slant height. Oh, I was worried. So the slant height, good. So that's going to be perpendicular to the base, is going to be 9.4. So I'll put an arrow here, 9.4. And so we need to find the area of all 4 of those faces. So we can just do 4 times one of those faces. And one of those faces is going to be 1/2 times 9.4 times 10. And so that is going to be our LA. That's our lateral area. So the lateral area is basically everything except the base, the surface area of everything but the base. And so that is going to equal 188 feet squared. And that is it. We are good to go. So if you have any questions in class tomorrow, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you.